Kadosh, Boker or Masechet Nedarim Daf Lamed Amud Aleph 30a1. Okay, we're by the Mishnah. The Mishnah says as follows: Hanoder miurde hayam. If somebody is going to come and he's going to make a neder from the Yurde Hayam, what does that mean? For the people that they go into the sea. So he makes a neder. He doesn't want to benefit from anybody that's sailors or that's on the sea. So then what happens? Mutar biyoshvei yabasha. So he's going to be permitted, right, on biyoshvei yabasha. Why? Because these people that they don't go on the sea, it's going to be permitted. So it's not going to be asur, only Yorde Hayam. Next, biyoshvei yabasha. If it's going to be now Yoshvei Yabasha, so now it's going to be Asur mi Yordei Hayam. Now, if he says Yoshvei Yabasha, it's going to be Asur also Yordei Hayam. Why? Yordei Hayam bichlal Yoshvei Yabasha. Meaning the people that go to the sea, they're also considered like people that what? The people that they go to the Yabasha as well. Okay? Which means they're part of the Yabasha. So therefore, at the end of the day, so one more time, if you came and you made the neder, I don't want to benefit anything from sailors. So then you're permitted to benefit from the people that are inhabiting the land. No problem. But if it's the opposite way around, Yoshvei Yabasha, it's going to be a sur from Yordei, right? Yoshvei Yabasha, it's going to be a sur also from Yordei Hayam. Yordei Hayam bichal Yoshvei Yabasha. Lo ke'elu sholchin me'ako liyafo. Now, he says, when it says Yordei Hayam, we're not talking about going from Akko to Yafo. Ela b'misha darko lefaresh. Right? He says why? Because these, right? These are two different cities. These are two different cities which are arenamal. They're like port cities, right? In Eretz Yisrael, right? So therefore, he comes and he says, we're not talking about right these two different cities which mamash. He comes and he says, this is like mamash. You're only going on Sfatayam. When we say, because you're going basically since they're right beside each other, right? And they're on the same side, right? They're both in Eretz Yisrael. So therefore, since it's on the coast over there, so what happens? So you don't have to go anywhere. You just go up. So he says that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Misha Darko Lefaresh, Mamash, you're going to Yam Gadol. Meaning, Mamash, you're going to the Atlantic Ocean, or you're going outside. You understand? So that's what the explanation is when we're talking about Yordei Hayam. Okay, until here clear. This is the Mishnah. Okay? Rav Papa says the Gemara. Rav Papa v'Ravacha bered Ravika. Rav Papa and Ravacha bered Ravika, Ravacha the son of Ravika came and he said, Chad matni reisha, v'chad matni seifa, which means like this. One of them, right, he comes and he says that we're talking about on the reisha. What does it mean, the reisha? He comes and he says that somebody that's making a neder from Yordei Hayam. And one of them came and he said that it's going on the neder from Yoshvei Yabasha. So now let's try to explain one more time. You had two different halachot in the Mishnah. You made a neder from Yoshvei Hayam, right? And then we ask, what about Yoshvei Yabasha? Or you made a neder from Yoshvei Yabasha, what about Yordei Hayam? Okay, so there's two different cases. Then we came and we said, not like Akko and Yafo. So now, what are those words going on? The words from Akko to Yafo, it's like which one? Let's try to explain. Mandetani Reisha. So the one that says that this is referring to the Reisha, Matniachi. So he learns like this, meaning you have to plug it in that it works like this. Hanoder mi Yordei Hayam. If you make a neder from Yordei Hayam, that means you don't want benefit from anybody, which are sailors, which are on the sea. Mutar bi Yoshvei Yabasha. You're allowed in Yoshvei Yabasha for the people that they live in the cities. Ha bi Yordei Hayam asur. Right? Which we just said that Yordei Hayam is going to be asur. Velo ke'elu, not like these people. Lamed Amud Bet 30b. Haolchim me'Akko liyafo. Right, that they're going from Akko to Yafo. The Halen Yoshvei Yabasha, because these people are considered Yoshvei Yabasha. Why are they considered Yoshvei Yabasha? Because at the end of the day, right? What these people that they're Yoshvei, they live they're living on the Yabasha. They're going out. You're right. They're on a boat, but they don't live at sea. Right? So therefore, those are considered Yoshvei Yabasha. Yoshvei Yabasha, you're allowed to benefit because you only made a neder from Yordei Hayam. But it's only the ones that have the derech to go outside to Yam Gadol. Now we're going to see the second opinion. The one, right, that he puts and he's taught teaching on the Seifa, he actually taught like this. Yeah, he comes and he says like this. Hanoder mi Yoshvei Yabasha asur bi Yordei Hayam. One more time. What do we say in the Seifa? If you come and you made a neder from Yoshve Hayabasha, so you're not allowed to benefit also from your Dayam. You come and you say, I'm not benefiting from anybody on this continent, right? On anybody on the Yabasha. You're not allowed to benefit on your Dayam. Why? Was your Dayam, we already said in the Mishnah, your Dayam are chelek, they are bichlal Yoshve Hayabasha. That's what we said. They are bichlal him. Okay? So says the Gemara, right? One more time. Anoder mi Yoshve Yabasha subyodayam velo be'elu alchim me'akko liyafo bilvad. Not only are the ones which are going from Akko to Yafo by itself, ela afilu b'mish darko lefaresh. Even somebody that they go out to see, hoil v'sofo layabasha sali. Because at the end of the day, you never stay, right, at sea. You always go to the Yabasha at the end of the day. You're always going to be, meaning no matter where you go, you have to port somewhere. You're always going somewhere. So it's true, you could be out at sea for whatever it is, but you're not always at sea. You always have to go to the Yabasha. So because of that, it all depends, right, how you learn it. So one more time. We had a Mishnah, right? We had the Mishnah that says two different Nedarim. A person comes and he makes a neder against the Yabasha, Yoshve Yabasha, everybody is prohibited. Why? Because even the ones which are at sea are part of the Yabasha. If a person comes and he says a neder against Yordei Hayam, the ones that go out to sea, only the people that go to sea is going to be prohibited. The ones which are in Yoshve Yabasha are permitted because I'm not a sailor. I don't live at sea. I'm permitted. The Mishnah said a statement. The Mishnah, the end, the latter part of the Mishnah, the Seifa comes and it says a statement. Not like from Akko to Yafo. Why? Because we said that Akko to Yafo are two port cities, right, which are on the same coast. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about the ones which they go out to sea. What do you mean? The Atlantic Ocean, or they go to the Mediterranean, whichever one they go, but they go out. So now, says the Gemara, what does that mean? The latter part of the Mishnah. Is the latter part of the Mishnah going back on the Seifa part or on the Reisha part? Because we had two different parts. We had it's a machloket. Yeah, we had two different parts. We had the Reisha, that a person comes and he says that we're Yordei Hayam, and then we had the Seifa of Yordei Yabasha, right? Or they're not Yordei, it's Yoshve. Remember, when it's Yordei Hayam, you're going down to sea, right? Yordei Hayam ba'oniot, right? When you're Yoshve, you live you're inhabiting. So it's Yoshve, okay? So therefore, it's important to remember that, okay? So Yoshve Yabasha and Yordei Hayam. Yordei Hayam, Yoshve Yabasha. So therefore, we have a doubt. So because of that, there's two different opinions. That's what he says over here. There's Rav Papa and Rav Ach Dravika. Okay? Mishnah says, Hanoder meroe achama. A person comes and he swears he's not going to benefit from the people that see the sun. So asur af pesumin. He's not allowed to enjoy even from a suma, from a blind person. Okay? Shelon itkaven ze el alami shachama roe otan. He doesn't have the intention that you see the sun, but rather, who does the sun see? The sun sees you. So since the sun sees you, even a person that's blind is not allowed to, you're not allowed to benefit from that. Says the Gemara, Maitama, what's the reasoning? Why are you going to say now that we're going to say that the kavanah is that the sun sees you instead of you seeing the sun? So it says, Midelo kamar, from the fact that you didn't say, min haro'in, right? When you say kol haro'im, afet hachama, so why did he say dafka ro'eh hachama? So therefore, obviously, when you use the terminology ro'eh hachama is lapuke tagimbu barim. The fish are not seen by the sun. The sun cannot see the fish, right? Because they're mechusim bayam. Also anubar, the fetus inside the womb of a woman, she's covered. So therefore, the sun does not see them. So you're allowed to benefit from fish, right? From fish and from a fetus. You're not allowed to benefit from the.
You didn't get the Mishnah.
Mishnah, we're talking about now the second Mishnah on the page. Today we're going to have 3 Mishnayot in a row. Second Mishnah. Hanoder mishechore harosh asur bekerechim. Right? U bebale sevot. So he says, "Umutar benashim uktanim she'en nikrain shechorei harosh el anashim." So he says like this: if a person comes and he makes a neder, right, about shechorei harosh, that means that their heads, right, are black. What do you mean by black? It means that they have hair. Right?
It doesn't mean black hair.
No,
black
hair.
hair.
So then it's going to be, right, asur, even in a bald person. So you have a bald person, it's going to be asur, even though they don't have hair at all. Ubale sevot, or people that they're bal seva tova. What do you mean bal seva tova? Elderly people. Why? Right? Because they have white hair. Okay? So he said that means even though they're not shachor, it's not black hair, it doesn't matter. Asur on everybody. However, though, they're going to be mutar and nashim uktanim. Why? Because any claim shechorei harosh el anashim, right? That means basically the ones who are considered shechorei harosh only by males, not by women, not by children. The Gemara is going to explain. Says the Gemara, my time, what's the reasoning? Why is it that we say that the kavanah is for everybody, even the kereach, even the bald person? You went and you said you're not going to benefit anybody that has black on their head, right? You were mitkaven, somebody that's not bald. Oh no, it includes bald. Why? Says the Gemara, from the fact that you didn't say ba'ale se'ar, right? So therefore, if you would have said ba'ale se'ar, it means somebody that has hair. The fact that you didn't say ba'ale se'ar, and you went and you said shechorei harosh, right? He comes and he says, so therefore it says the kavanah is davka leba'ale se'ar shachor, which is asur of bekerechim. So the kavanah shechorei harosh is le'elo mechunim kach, because stam anashim, right? Because the majority of people do have se'ar shachor, that's why you meant men. You meant men because of that. Okay? 1 second. Then the Mishnah says, yeah? But one more time. The fact that we did not say ba'ale se'ar, because ba'ale se'ar means people that have hair. So if you would have said people that have hair, it comes to exclude, obviously, somebody that's bald. Okay? But if you didn't say that, so it includes it. So now the Mishnah says, mutar benashim uktanim, but you're going to be permitted in women and children, because they're not considered shechorei harosh, only men. Why? My tama, what's the reasoning why this expression only means men and not women and children? Anashim zimnin de michasai rashayu, zimnin de migela rashayu. The reason why is because men, right? When you come and you say men, sometimes they have their heads revealed and they have their heads covered. So if you cannot say mechusei harosh and not megule harosh. So since the majority of the men, saram shachor, right? The majority of people, the majority of men, you take a second, you come and take statistics. Majority of men, right, they don't have white hair because obviously if they have white hair, sometimes they're already on their way out. So the majority of men, right, they have black hair, right? Then besides that, majority of men are not bald. They're not bald. Yeah, he says they're not bald. He says, therefore, what happens is, so therefore, I'm explaining the Gemara. I don't know what you're saying, right? So, however, though the Gemara says, but women, leolam mikasu, women always have their hair covered because of snoot. So, therefore, you would never say shechorei harosh because we're not going on the color of the hair, right? They also have, the majority of them will have black hair, but their hair is covered. So that's talking about nashim. Nashim is talking about married women. What about ktanim? Leolam migalu. The children are always megule harosh. So therefore, if you wanted to have kavanah to make a neder against children, you would say megule harosh, because all children, their hair are revealed, right? That's going to be megule harosh. If you wanted to have a neder against women, you would say mechaseh harosh, because the majority of women have their hair covered, right? Because of snoot. If you're going to now say, right, mishechorei harosh, you can't be talking about children because they are megale harosh, and you're not talking about women because they are mechaseh harosh. So if you say shechorei harosh, obviously you're only talking about men, and we already explained why it includes the kereach, because if you would have excluded the kereach, you would have just said ba'ale se'ar, person that has hair. The fact that you said shechorei harosh, you meant all men. Now on the page, Lamed Amubet, right? Lamed Amubet, 30b, says the Mishnah, third Mishnah, Hanoder mina yilodin, right? If a person comes and he makes a neder against the ones which are born. Born means that they were born, past tense, right? Mina yilodim, from the ones which are already born. Okay? Mutar banoladim. So he's allowed to benefit from the ones which are going to be born, because those are not yilodim, those are noladim, that's in the future tense. Okay? Asur, right? But if he says mina noladim, asur mina yilodim. If he says from the ones which are born, so he's prohibited also the ones that which are already born, because obviously you were already born. So if it's prohibited everybody. Rabbi Meir argues, and he's matid even by yilodim, as the Gemara is going to explain why. But Chachamim argue, and they say, Lo nitkaven zeh ela b'mi shedarko livaled. Right? What does that mean? When it says, right, in the neder, when the Chachamim, they argue on Rabbi Meir, and they hold that the noder min noladim, for the ones which are born, right, is a sur also yilodim, which are already. And they explain the reason why is because he's only the one which is the derech, right, to be born, whether it's going to be in the future or the one that was already born. We're going to see now the machloket of in the Gemara, what exactly you're referring to. So let's start. Gemara. According to Rabbi Meir, right, when it says af bayilodim, it's mashma afilu, right, even, meaning even, right, velo mi baya noladim, ela miman asur. So he says, so you don't have to say that it's going to be matid, the ones which weren't born. So then, 1 second. So then, who's going to be a sur then? Who did he make a neder? If he's going to permit the noladim and the yilodim, he's permitting the ones which are already born and the ones which are going to be born in the future. So who did he make the neder? One more time. He went and he made a neder, right? Says Rabbi Meir, if he made the neder, remember, the first case was mashma according to everybody, correct? Right? The first case was anodem mina yilodim utar banoladim. That's it. However, though, min hanoladim, the ones which are going to be born in the future, asur mina yilodim. You're not allowed to the ones which are already born past tense. Rabbi Meir says no, mutar af. It's mutar also in the yilodim. 1 second. If you say also, so it's both. So if you're permitted in everybody, so who did you make an neder to? You just permitted the yilodim and noladim, the ones which are born and the ones which are going to be born. So who did you make a neder to? Answers the Gemara. You're lacking part of the Mishnah, and this is the way that you have to read it. Hanoder mina yilodim mutar banoladim. Nekuda. Correct? If you make a neder on the ones which were previously born, you're permitted in the ones which are going to be born. Mina noladim, from the ones which are going to be born in the future. Asur bayilodim. You're not allowed to have from the ones which were previously born. Rabbi Meir says, Afa noder mina noladim, even if you didn't make like the noladim, which is the second case, mutar bayilodim, you are permitted in the yilodim. Just like you permitted, you just made a neder from yilodim, mutar banoladim, which means Rabbi Meir is not permitting everybody. He's just flipping. Meaning, in the first case, if you won from the ones which were born previously, you made a neder, but you're still allowed to benefit from the ones which are going to be born later. If you made a neder for the ones which are going to be born later, you're permitted from the ones which were born before. Meaning, you just flip it. Which one? That's the way we learn Rabbi Meir. So the Gemara is going to ask against Rabbi Meir. Amaleh of Papa le Abaye, says Rav Papa to Abaye, Lemeimra, are you going to tell me the noladim, the mitialdan mashma? When you say the lashon of noladim is mashma in the future, like Rabbi Meir, because that's what Rabbi Meir is saying. Noladim, nolad is exactly what's going on. So he says, Ela me'ata, it's a pasuk. Yaakov comes and he tells Yosef about Menashe and Ephraim. I want the two children, which were born to you in Eretz Mitzrayim. There are we talking about future tense or past tense? Past tense. So what? You're going to tell me there that you could say noladim is in the future? Menashe and Ephraim were already born. It's the past tense. So when you say noladim, it's past. It's not future. And it says the Gemara, "Ve'lamaydi yaldu mashma." So 1 second. So what do you want to say? The noladim is in the past? Ela me'ata. 1 second. There's another pasuk in Melachim. Dichtiv, Hine ben nolad lebet David, Yoshiyahu shemo. There was this is talking about by Yerovam. Yerovam was the first king, right, of Israel. Remember, right? 1 second. Right? There's Yerovam was the first Melech Israel. Remember that, okay? There was Malchut Yehuda and the Malchut Israel, okay? So Yerovam ben Nevat was the first one. Hine ben nolad lebet David Yoshiyahu shemo. Hachanami dehaver. You're going to tell me that it was already it happened? when he basically was told that there's going to be somebody to the house of David that was going to be born called Yoshiyahu, it's in the future, it's not in the past. So what you want to tell me now that Nolad means in the past because of Ephraim and Menashe? Now we're bringing you proof that Nolad is in the future from Yoshiyahu. Menashe wasn't even born, right? And Menashe was the grandfather of Yoshiyahu. So explain to me, if Menashe Melech Yehuda was not born, and the grandson of Menashe is going to be Yoshiyahu, so now what are you going to tell me? Nolad is in the past? Nolad is in the future. So we're basically bringing a stira here. What is the terminology Nolad? Is Nolad in the past or Nolad in the future? From the Torah, it's mashma in the past because of Menashe and Ephraim. But from Melachim, it's mashma in the future. So it says, you're right. It's both. Sometimes it could be in the past, and sometimes it could be in the future.
Differentiation with the pronunciation?
No, the exact same. Sometimes it can be the past, sometimes it can be in the future. But to do with the neder, we go after Lashon Bnei Adam. Lashon Bnei Adam is usually Noladim is in the future. Like Nolad. What do we say in Hilchot Shabbat? There's Nolad. What's Nolad? Nolad in Hilchot Shabbat is something that's created afterwards. It's something afterwards. So Lashon Bnei Adam, even though technically you could go use both terminologies, but usually people will always speak about it in the future. Next, the two dots. So this is what they asked before. What does it mean that Chachamim argue in Rabbi Meir? And they say that you had kavanah, right, to come and to prohibit yourself somebody which is born, the darko livaled. It says, what are we talking about then? Right? Because when it says noladim, according to Chachamim, the kavanah is on both. Right? It's kavanah on both. That means you're prohibited in everybody, whether the ones which were born in the past or the ones which are going to be born in the future. So for who are you coming to exclude? Answers the Gemara, lapuke dagim ve'ofot. Because dagim ve'ofot, fish and birds, right? They're parim rabim through eggs, right? And therefore, and what happens? Then they break through the egg. So they're not nolad mimeimam, so like other animals. So because of that, since they're going to be in that way, that's not darkam livale. They're not born, right? It's something different. They hatch, right? It's something completely different. It's not like somebody that's born. So therefore, obviously, you were coming to exclude them, that you would be permitted to benefit from fish and from chickens, right? Or from birds, but you're not allowed to benefit from any type of a human being, whether it's one that was already previously born or one that will be born in the future. Tomorrow we continue with Daf Yomi.